Welcome back to Morning Joy, where truth matters. I'm Keith Downey, your host, and today we have a returning guest who's sure to bring a smile to your face. He's a talented cartoonist with a knack for capturing the humor side of Catholic life, and he's just released his second collection of cartoons, the Catholic Cartoon Collection #2. Welcome back to the show, Josh.
It's great to be back. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, for those that might have missed our previous conversation, tell us just a little about yourself and what inspired you to create these cartoons.
Yeah, so I'm a Catholic artist and I specialize in cartoons mostly. So I created a comic strip series that's mostly online, just about Catholic life, about a small town parish and a parish priest. And the style, the cartoon style, the humor, the art is all very similar to, the heyday comics like Peanuts or Blondie, Family Circus, all those comics you'd find in the Sunday papers. So it's very similar to that. And I started these about 2 years ago. And it was meant to be a way to use my gifts. I've always had a knack for drawing cartoons. So it was meant to use my gift, but also to share the faith as well. Just kind of in a unique way that you don't normally see too much of. And I felt that, this unique style might be able to reach out to more and more people, not just fellow Catholics, but other people too. And so, yeah, it's been going very well.
That's awesome. And it just kind of reminded me every Thanksgiving, like the news, depending on the newspaper, I just remember getting very excited to open up either it's the Thursday or Friday edition of any newspaper. And there's just a large section of like the Sunday comics basically, but it's the Thanksgiving one. And that kind of reminds me of the style, which you draw from, but you also draw from like humor and being relatable. So can you maybe share one of the cartoons from the new collection that particularly tickles your funny bone and tell us why?
Yeah, so one thing I did do is just one of the comic strips in the newest book. And this is something that probably anybody who goes to Mass can relate to, I'm sure can relate to, especially if you go to like a really big parish with lots of families. But I did one of the comic strips. There's no dialogue, no words or anything in it, but the comic is just two little kids. It's in the pews and the little kids are just like popping up kind of like gophers staring at the people behind them. So if you go to Mass a lot and there's, the little kids, they're usually just kind of like looking back at you, staring at you. So I always find it kind of fun and amusing. And so I had to put that in there because I thought that a lot of people might find that relatable. They see that, every Sunday or so. So
that's so
stuff
funny.
Like that,
yeah.
You'll find in there, yeah.
There's always... Man, there's always those kids that you're just like kind of minding your own business and you look and you just have these eyes catch your eyes. And
just
like,
staring at you, yeah. Like,
alrighty.
Hi.
One of the ones that I have I recently looked on because you have a really active Instagram where you do post some of your cartoon strips, and one that I chuckled was a garbage man, or at least someone putting garbage in a garbage can, and just a bunch of cats reading like the Bible. And another guy's like, I forget you're new here. Those cats have a Bible study like that every month. And it's funny because they're Catholics, right? Is that the joke?
Yes, there you go. Yeah, that's the joke. Yep, every time. Yeah, and I'm glad you say that one because that one took me like 5 hours or so to do. So it took a lot of work. So thank you for calling that one out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the thing. Like you can tell there's a lot of work put into these cartoons that you draw. And speaking of drawing, you do draw inspiration from everyday life, from what you mentioned. But what are some of the unexpected places or maybe situations that really kind of sparked some of these ideas for the cartoons, specifically in this new book?
Yeah, maybe not too sure about unexpected, or maybe it would be unexpected, but just in my own daily life, I try to go to Mass every day, and I'm active in altar serving at my own parish. And when you altar serve, you get a lot more to the parish life, I guess, because I'm in the back in the sacristy with the priests getting ready for Mass, and especially I'm with the young altar boys, and they're always making trouble and things like that. So it's just really just, opening my eyes and just looking around at, just the daily things happening around the parish. But I draw a lot of my inspiration, and if you read these books, there's a lot of altar boy jokes. And that's just because I get all of that, the stories of the elder boys firsthand, just being back there and serving. But yeah, no, it's just a lot of, just observing life as it is, just daily life at the parish, and there's always just fun things happening.
Is it somewhat challenging finding the balance of being present in the moment and then being like, let me write this one down. This is actually...
No, seriously, yeah. Sometimes, things will just happen. And I'm like, that'd make a great comic strip. And then I'm like, it's, in the middle of Mass, and I'm like, I should really pay attention. But that does happen, like, frequently. So, yeah.
I often find myself doing that too. Like, wow, this would actually be really cool. No, I got to stay focused.
Exactly.
Be present. Come on.
Yep.
Is there ever like a particular cartoon in this newer collection that maybe was challenging or more meaningful to you than, say, some of the others?
Yes, there's one that was more meaningful. So in this new collection book, I added a new character, and I added this character. So she's a young girl, and basically she's supposed to just be sick. She doesn't have, there's no, type of sickness given. You just know that this character is ill and she's bedridden, essentially. And so I added this character in to sort of be just a way to draw the reader's eyes back to God. Obviously, when you make like a comic, you want it to be, people are expecting it to be funny, full of jokes and things like that, which I want. But this character, she's not ever really associated with like laughter. And it's not that she's really like, sad or anything, but she's just sort of meant to bring our eyes back to God. And so I added this character in, and she's in this book. This is a little storyline that involves her, and she's showing, joy and patience in the midst of suffering, which, many people I can certainly relate to. So I'd say that character, it was just, I really wanted to add her, again, because the mission of this comic, I love making people laugh and putting a smile on people's faces, but it's also meant to draw people closer to God and to evangelize and share the faith. So yeah,
that's incredible. Yeah, you're just by the normal person, standard person that's going through some of these things, they're probably going to notice that. But for us Catholics, we'll be like, "Yep, that's joy and suffering right there. That's
right, exactly." Yep.
So there might be some listeners out there who could be aspiring cartoonists themselves. Any type of advice you'd give to someone who does want to use maybe their artistic talents to share their faith? Whether it's, maybe through cartoons or another medium?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say go for it, for sure. Art is really an amazing tool. It's a visual medium, and people are able to look at it and, they get a lot out of art, essentially. And I wouldn't say there's really necessarily one type of sacred art. I consider my own art, it's obviously not something I would put in a church. I would not put cartoons in a church. But it is a form of sacred art, you know what I mean? It's with that intention of drawing people to God and raising their hearts and minds to God. Work with what you have. This is what I had. I originally wanted to do, fine art, but I realized I'm better at cartoons, so I thought I can just use this then to share the faith, because it's what I have, and I can use it to the best of my abilities, and God's going to take care of the rest. So I would say, just use what you have and make sure you do everything with prayer, because that's the key to being a Catholic artist. Is it's not necessarily what you make. That's important, but it's also who you are, and you're putting yourself into the work you do. So it's important to be prayerful and intentional with all the art you do, and things like that. Yeah, that would be my advice.
Yeah, no, it's great advice. Anybody that you don't have to be an artist, they could be
right. Yeah, absolutely.
Take that advice and run with it. Be discern in prayer is incredibly important. So you have basically now two editions. You have the first collection and obviously the second one. You also teased, and I thought this was really cool, the kind of like a full motion cartoon element I saw on social media a while ago. Tell us a little more about that. Is that something that we'll see in the future, where it's kind of like an actual cartoon that we can watch, or?
I want that so badly, yes. So animating takes a lot of time, which I'm sure people know. So I'm trying to fit in time throughout my own schedule to make it happen. I'm also just my own worst enemy, where I'm I want everything to be perfect.
Sure.
And, I'm trying to meet my own high expectations, which can be unrealistic at times. So again, going back to working with what I have, I'm trying to just do what I know with animating. So it may come out, very simple and bare minimum, but I at least want to, at least get the ball rolling and start make some animated things out there to share with people, on YouTube and things like that. Because, I don't know, I've always wanted that, and I want to see the characters come to life, in a different kind of way. So I think it'd just be really cool. Yeah.
Well, before we let you go, can you give us a sneak peek at what you're working on next, if anything, if maybe there's any exciting projects on the horizon?
Exciting projects on the horizon. Well, I mean, I'm just, as usual, I'm still trying to make comic strips to just share online, as often as I can. And then again, we mentioned that animated thing. I can't say when that'll happen. Who knows? But it is something I'm working on. And so, just keep an eye out for that at some point. But yeah, just kind of trucking along, just making more and more comics, and hopefully, work up to a third collection book by next year.
Exciting stuff. Wow. So we can certainly find more information either by going to your website, which is and these are hyphens, the-catholic-cartoon.com. You can just probably Google it. That'll probably pull up too. Or just the Catholic Cartoonist. Hey, it's Black Friday, so if you have someone you want to give a Catholic gift to, you might want to check the second edition, maybe the first edition. Yeah, absolutely. Well, can't thank you enough, Joshua Masterson, for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me on.